downstairs. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, I'm doing a quick live before I go to bed. Where's everyone on the stream today? Well, I've been here for like a minute, so they'll be here in a second. Hey, Deb, how's it going? Hey, Steve the Pigeon, how are you? I just wanted to do a quick live before I go to bed. How was your Wednesday, guys? What's up, Jared? I was just thinking about I want to talk quickly about directed conversation. Who here has experienced directed conversations when talking to someone? If you don't know what directed conversation means, directed conversations is when people make allusions to things about your personal life. So whether it be things you said or did the day before, you're home, you're having a conversation with your spouse, your mother, your sibling, your father, whatever it is. You go to work the next day. People at work are quoting sentences you said during the conversation with the people that you had a conversation with at home, whether it be online. I know for this person I've been talking to lately, the last person I interviewed, Andrew, he said that he would have conversations with people on chess.com. He plays chess. He's pretty good at chess. And he would have conversations with people, and chess is very competitive, right? It's like it's a one-on-one sport, right? So if you lose, it feels pretty bad because you have no one to blame but yourself. If you win, it feels pretty great because you are better than this other person. So there's a lot of smack talk, and he'd have conversations with these people, and then the next day he would go to work or just go about his day, and there would be people that would quote sentences he said during his conversation, right? I've dealt with a lot of directed conversation. I deal with directed conversation on a pretty regular basis, and I'm very appreciative actually of directed conversation, because directed conversation is a way of letting me know that, I mean, the way that they see it when they do directed conversations with me is they think it's a torture tactic, right? Um, but and it is a torture tactic. It's actually quite effective in causing unease in someone, making them feel like they're being spied on because they are being spied on, making them feel like they're on the outside, right? There's a very appealing aspect to gang stalking, in a sense that people feel the need to belong, and some people have a much stronger need to belong than others, and they can be fooled into joining this group by fulfilling this need to belong. And the opposite is quite true as well. The feeling of being excluded is one of our greatest fear, as it is tied to public humiliation, which is, as humans, our greatest fear is public humiliation, which is something that, of course, as a targeted individual, you go through all the time. I mean, directed conversation is exactly that. It's public humiliation. It's, you know, all these people around you have information on you that they shouldn't, are basically in no clear words are telling you we're spying on you. And it makes you feel humiliated that these people are basically violating your privacy. So it's very effective in that sense. But to me, the way that I see it, nowadays, of course, that's not how I used to see it, but the way that I see it nowadays is I see it as, you trying to humiliate me. First of all, I'm sad for you, that you feel the need to do that, that it makes you feel good to do that to someone else, to a fellow human being. You must not be happy. You can't be happy, as a matter of fact. Only a miserable person would do something like that. Um, or someone who just feels the need to belong so bad that they're willing to go against their own values to make someone feel humiliated, to make someone else feel bad, really. Um, so it doesn't make me feel humiliated. Now, does it make me feel violated? Of course, of course. I'm being spied on. That you're violating my privacy. So of course I would feel violated. But it makes me feel sorry for you more than anything, because, you know, you're putting so much effort and work into trying to affect me. Meanwhile, I never think about you. I mean, there isn't a single moment in my day where I'm thinking about you, you know? And you're like super like, oh, I'm really gonna get him with this one. I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna upset him, and I'm just here, like not thinking about you. But the other thing that it does when it comes to directed conversation, and this is something I really appreciate, is that it lets me know who's in on it. Because once I know you're in on it, we're not talking anymore. Like, I don't care if we were best friends forever. I don't care if you're my sibling. I don't care if you're my parent. I wouldn't care if you were my wife or the mother of my child. If you're participating in my gang stalking, you are effectively and immediately dead to me. You know. So I think directed conversation is it's a very interesting torture tactic, because it plays on the worst fear of human beings, which is public humiliation. They say the worst fear of human beings is public speaking, but it's not public speaking. It's the fear of making a fool of yourself while public speaking, because it would lead to public humiliation. And it's a very effective torture tactic, obviously. Um, it makes you feel, if you internalize it, it'll make you feel ashamed. And another thing that they do when it comes to gang stalking tactics is they cause issues in your life. They cause you to lose your job. To Has this happened to you recently? It happens to me all the time. It happened to me yesterday. But yeah, it happens a lot. But they cause you to lose your jobs. They cause you to not be able to get new jobs. They cause you to, um, you know, be paranoid, to isolate, right? To not trust others, to not want to make new friends. They cause you depression and everything that comes with it, whether it be substance abuse, whether it be uh, anger, you know, just all kinds of symptoms come with um, depression, and all of the other side effects of these torture tactics, obviously. And then what they do, which is really diabolical when you think about it, is they shame you for the symptoms that they've caused in you. So for example, if they cost you your job, um, and you start to have debt, they'll get people around you to shame you for it. Um, and I just wanted to share this. I've been speaking to a lot of people. A lot of you have actually messaged me. And if I'm not answering your messages in a timely fashion, I'm very sorry. Um, I have been feeling very drained lately. I'm feeling better today, much better. But I have been feeling very drained lately. Um, I don't, for those who were here this morning, I saw some war videos that involved some children, and it really it 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 took something out of me. But I wanted to say this, and I think this is really important when it comes to these tactics that they use, such as um, for just to answer Tarai the Star's question, she asked me, "What did you see?" I saw unalived children, a lot of them, and it really it messed with me. Um, but I wanted to talk about let's not talk about that. I wanted to talk about the feelings of shame that they try to um, instill in you, right? You don't get to torture someone, cause them PTSD, and then judge them based off of their reaction to that PTSD. That's not like gangstalkers would have you. They try to make you forget how you got where you are. Whether you're jobless, you're homeless, you're alone, you're in debt, you're relapsed, doesn't matter. They try to shame you for the position you're in now. Obviously, you're an adult. The choices you make, you're responsible for. But never forget, you know, a lot of the conditions you're living through right now were manufactured. Don't allow them to make you forget that they have been manufacturing your downfall. And for them to shame you for said downfall is it's part of it. It's part of the torture tactics. It's one aspect of it, right? So I just wanted to say this, like, if you're feeling ashamed, if you've allowed them to make you internalize the shame, look at it this way. You're not torturing people. You're not waking up in the morning spying on people, trying to destroy their lives. You're just doing the best you can with what you have, with the situation that you are in, with the cards you've been dealt, which is a pretty shitty hand. The only person that should feel any shame, and they won't, which is, one of the big reasons why they attack you, is it's in order to be able to, they attack you and then they shame you. It's in order to be able to, it's just projection. They're projecting the shame that they should feel about their own behavior on you for the results of the torture tactics that they've been putting you through. It is often minimized what gangstalking, what the tactics of gangstalking do to people. It is very often minimized, and people will tell you, think about something else, stop talking about it, move on. But when the government is waging psychological warfare against you, you know, however you handle it is just like you do your best at that point. I consider myself to be a somewhat intelligent person, you know? It took me decades, like almost 2 decades to figure out what was going on. Now, I don't want you to think that like I was completely clueless. I had figured it out. It's just I had so many people in my ear telling me that that's not it. That's not happening to you. You're not being spied on. Go get checked. I had so many people telling me that at some point, you have to have some kind of self-doubt. I mean, unless you're a psychopath, you know, you have to have some kind of self-doubt. It's like, yeah, but I know this is what's happening to me. I know I'm being spied on and I'm being tortured, but everybody around me is telling me that that's not the case, including the people who are torturing me. At a certain point, I gotta ask myself, is it me? But the point is, I consider myself to be a pretty smart guy, pretty resourceful. You know, I'm not like I'm no genius, obviously, but I consider myself to be a resourceful person. And guys, I'm drowning in this situation. I don't want this calm demeanor of mine to fool you into thinking that I'm I'm handling the situation like perfectly, right? Now, mentally, I'm doing good. I'm doing all right, Like I have a fighter spirit. But I mean the physical, my life is not going the way that I want it to go. Financially, I'm not in a position that I want to be in. So, but the reason why I'm so calm about it is because it's been going on for so long. And also panicking is not it's not productive, Like there's nothing productive about it. Nothing good is going to come from it. And once you realize that you have a constantly growing army of people that are plotting on your downfall, you really have to be team you. You gotta, you know, play your part. You have to be, your own star player. So I'm just doing that. And I understand that in order to get my message across and to convey my message in a way that people will help people and that will help our cause, our situation. Um, I can't do it from a place of panic. I can't do it from a place of emotion. Because as soon as I show emotion, as soon as any of us show emotion, even if, you're drowning, and this situation is very much like a quicksand. Like, don't get me wrong, this situation is very much like a quicksand. The more you fight it, the more you react to it, the more you fight against it, the worse it'll get for you. And if you sort of get into the position of trying to ask for help, like scream out into the void, um, you'll push people away because nobody's gonna believe you. This is an unbelievable situation. This is not the type of stuff that like people have have ever heard of. It's sort of like narcissistic abuse, Unless you've gone through it, you don't understand it. And I could explain it to you. You still wouldn't understand it. Not to the level that you need to. Um, and the same goes for even explaining what a narcissist is, you know, or how a narcissist think. I can tell you about a lack of empathy, but if you have empathy, you don't understand someone who doesn't have it, and you never will. You know, It's sort of like explaining, it's sort of like explaining how narcissists view people as objects, and the only value that they give to people is how useful they are. Now, if you were to tell a narcissist, you know, the issue in your life is that you view people as objects, that person would tell you, that narcissist would tell you, hey, I don't view people as objects. I know they're people. But deep down, he understands, he knows. Once a person shows themselves to not be useful, or to say things that I don't like, such as no, I disagree, I don't feel like it, um, they immediately start to devalue that person and often abuse that person. That's what treating people as objects means. So they don't quite understand what it is that you mean when you say you're treating people as objects. But they do treat people as objects because the only value that they see in them is their usage, their usefulness, right? I mean, if a remote control does not work to, control my TV, it is now useless to me, and I will throw it away. You know, now I might smack it a couple of times, but I'm not gonna keep it now because you know, it's sentient, or I don't care. And that's really how narcissists view other people, is they view them as, your feelings are not real. They're not real to me because they're not mine, and the only person that matters to me is me. Now, any feelings that you have towards me matters, but any feelings that I've caused in you, especially negative ones, that's your problem. And it's not real to me, and I will treat it as such. So, but the point I'm making is, you could try to explain to someone what a narcissist is and how a narcissist thinks, and cognitively they'll understand what you mean, but not really. Unless you're a narcissist, you don't really understand narcissists. And my page is called The War Against Narcissism. I have a deep, very deep education on what a narcissist is and on what narcissism is. I don't understand narcissists. I understand how they operate. I understand, how they respond. I understand them enough to recognize them when I see them, when I interact with them. I understand them enough to recognize narcissistic behavior, to recognize narcissistic red flags, narcissistic patterns of behaviors, things of that nature. But I don't understand narcissism. I don't understand how these people, you know, came to be what they are. I know how they came to be what they are. I don't understand it. There's nothing in me that will ever understand being okay with hurting innocent people. There's nothing in me that will ever understand being okay with, causing pain to others in order to feel some type of joy. Now, I don't want you to think that, like, I'm perfect and I've never hurt anyone. That's not true. Even people who didn't deserve it, that's not true. As a matter of fact, I have, but I've always felt bad about it. And I've always tried to change my behaviors. Maybe I did it because I was angry, because I was stressed out, you know, because I was going through depression, but I've never taken joy in hurting others or trying to ruin their lives. So that's just not who I am. And I cannot understand someone who takes joy. The German word is Schadenfreude, which means taking joy out of other people's pain. I could never understand that, but that's how these people operate. Anyways, I'm curious what the fracture is. What makes a narcissist? What makes a narcissist is child abuse. Child abuse, it's just childhood trauma, more trauma that they can handle, that they can understand. Usually, what will make a narcissist is another narcissist will make a narcissist. Narcissistic abuse on a child, trauma at a level that they cannot understand will make them narcissists. or it'll make them self-love deficient, and they'll go on in their lives to not necessarily just attract narcissists, but keep narcissists around, because everybody attracts narcissists. Everybody can attract narcissists, including other narcissists. They can attract narcissists, but most people, well, not most people, but people who are not self-love deficient, usually when they get abused, they go, "Oh, I don't deserve that. Thanks, no thanks, bye." But self-love deficient people, will see it as sort of a challenge of, my parents never loved me, and I've always tried to make them love me. I'm going to try to make you love me now. I'm going to try to prove to you that I'm worthy of love. When someone who is not self-love deficient will just be like, "Hey, if you don't love me, or if you don't treat me the way that I deserve to be treated, that's a you problem." Next, you know? So, anyways, narcissist is the direct opposite of empathy. It's basically soulless in my eyes. Neglect. Yeah, well, child abuse is everything from actual abuse, actually hurting a child. Neglect is child abuse, and spoiling. Funny enough, a lot of people don't know that, but spoiling a child is child abuse, and it creates narcissists. Spoiling creates more narcissists than you know abuse does. Like negative abuse. There's positive abuse and negative abuse, right? But spoiling a child creates way more narcissists. Never saying no to a child, treating a child like a king. You know, I was always mad when my mother would tell me, when I was a kid, "I'm not one of your little friends." And this is a sentence that all Black parents say to their kids, is, "I'm not one of your little friends," but you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be your child's friend. You should be your child's parent. And oftentimes, parents will try to be their child's friend in order to regulate their own emotions because they can't deal with their kids being mad at them for a little while. And they'll spoil the kid, and when things spoil, they go bad. It is what it is. Hey, AJ, man, how's it going? How are you, brother? Keep making those videos. I'm watching. Stressing and panicking won't make it better. Just have to grind and work it out. That's right. We've all been there. This is just a trying season. Keep the faith, and this storm shall pass. You got this. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want you guys to think that I'm like going through hard times. Um, I'm just feeling a bit down. Like I said, I saw a video of like children, unalived children, like a lot of them. And I've been seeing like the Epstein stuff and things of that nature, and it's been building, and it's been weighing heavy on me. And also I'm talking to a lot of you guys on Messenger, and you guys are telling me your stories, and I have empathy, so I feel for all of you, and it's draining. It can be draining. I'm not saying don't write to me, because this is my mission. This is what I've chosen to do with what I'm going through, instead of hiding and surviving. I'm going all out. You know, like if this is war, then let it be war. You know, I'm going to do the only thing I can do, which is raise awareness about what's going on. But I don't want you guys to think that I'm doing bad, or I have like ideations of like self-unaliving. Nah. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. So I don't want you to think that I'm doing bad. I'm not doing bad. I'm only doing bad, in the physical world, you know? Like I'm losing friends left and right. I'm losing family. Um, I'm losing business, I'm losing money, but in the things that truly matter, I'm rich. I have a wife who loves me. I love my wife dearly. Um, I have goals, aspirations. I have a new goal, you know, with what I'm doing here on this page, on this YouTube page. Um, my wife showed me a proverb in the Bible that spoke about, you know, we should be thankful for our hardships. And when she said it, I was like, "Girl, be quiet." No, but uh, she said that it said we should be thankful for our hardships because hardships build endurance and character, right? And it is true. You know, I've gone through some pretty horrible things in my life, but I wouldn't be the man that I am today if I hadn't. And honestly, I can honestly say that if I hadn't gone through some of the horrible things that I went through in my life, I would not be the type of man that would attract a woman like my wife. She would not be interested in me. I'd be weak. And she'd see that. And one thing I'm no longer is weak. So I guess it is true what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think that when it comes to this experience, I'm allowing it to make me stronger. And I'm forcing myself to become stronger. I'm not letting this, be the end of me. Hey, thanks for the what is this, a super chat? Hold on. Let me see. Thanks for the donation, Tarai. Much appreciated. But the message I wanted to give you guys is I had a lady message me today saying that she's you know she has unaliving ideations, and I sent her a video from Dr. De Facto about directed conversations. If you guys get a chance, go on Dr. De Facto's page, and in the search bar on his videos, write directed conversation. The first video that pops up is basically about directed conversation, but he has such an important message that he shares in that video, which is you've been spied on for years. Obviously, obviously, they're going to catch you in the act of doing something that you shouldn't have done. At the end of the day, if you look into someone's life um, deeply enough, you'll find crime. You'll find bad things. You'll find sin. I mean, whether it be cheating on your spouse, um, you know, I don't know, not paying your tickets, driving without a license or insurance, I mean, you name it, right? None of us are perfect, obviously. And if people are messing with your life and sabotaging it, then obviously sometimes you'll be left to make some choices that you really shouldn't have made, but you sort of had no position to, no options, right? Exactly. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All of us. 100% of us. We all sin. If someone is spying on you 24/7, they're bound to find something. And a tactic that gang stalkers use is they shame you for what they find, and often what they find is something that they've actually caused. And but people will not see that, you know? Like, let's say you're stressed out and you're arguing with your spouse because you're being gang stalked, and perhaps you don't even know you're being gang stalked, but you're arguing with your spouse and you go too far. You say things that are just awful because you're so angry and frustrated and in despair. And now they have a recording of you talking crazy to your spouse, and they're showing people. to get them to turn on you. And the things you said are really awful. I mean, really bad stuff, right? And people are just like, wow, I never knew this person to be like this. And, obviously people tend to lack introspection skills, and they're unable to see that, yeah, I mean, if you were to look into my life and shared my personal, no, my private the private details of my life with people, you could get them to hate me, probably, but that's not the situation. The lens is on you. And people are very quick to look at other people, but most people have a hard time, if not an impossible time, looking at themselves. But looking at you is easy. So they hate you, they turn on you, they start to abuse you because of what they've seen you do, what they've heard you say, not understanding that, the torture that they are now putting you through because of what they've seen you do or heard you say, um, has not started with them. It started before you were caught doing something wrong. You were caught sinning. And it has led you down that path very often. And the video that Dr. De Facto put out, I listened to it at a time. I really feel like it was like God had guided me to it, because the biggest part of my gang stalking has been directed conversation. So when I put directed conversation, when I heard that word, that term, directed conversation, and I put it into the search bar of YouTube, it was the first video that popped up somehow. And I'm listening to this guy, and he has like a voice that is just a huge, I don't want to say turn off, because that's not the term I want to use, but it's just like, I mean, I hate to say it, he sounds like, he sounds very Republican, if that's the way I'm going to put it. He sounds very Republican, and he might be, I don't know. But I used to be very liberal. So when I hear someone that has a voice like a Rush Limbaugh or an Alex Jones, something like that, or a Trump, it's a turnoff. It's just like, ugh, I don't like that. I don't like that voice, right? But I decided to listen to it anyways, and the message that he shared was so great, and it's really interesting. Now that I'm no longer a liberal, I tend to listen to people who are conservative, and I would consider myself a conservative nowadays. Um, Not that I would ever vote. I don't want you to think that I would ever vote. Screw both sides. Um, but screw the government on both sides. But the point I'm making is, now that I listen to people, on both sides of the um, political spectrum, there are a lot of really intelligent people on both sides. You know, I mean, of course, there's a lot of, there's also the Ben Shapiros of this world who are just like, I have nothing to learn from you. you know, you're clearly racist. No thanks. But I listened to his video, and he shared something that was really, it really changed it. And I'm just going to share it now because I feel like I've been rambling, and I do ramble. I'm sorry. Um, my grandkids are going to love me, but um, one day. But what he said was, I don't care if you did mess up. I don't care if they have something on you. I don't care what they have on you. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If anyone should be ashamed of their behavior, it's them. What they're doing breaks the law. It breaks every code of humanity. It breaks the Geneva Convention, because this is psychological warfare. Um, you know, invading your privacy like that, they're the ones who should be ashamed. They're the ones who should be hiding. These are human rights violations. Absolutely, So I don't care what it is that you did. You're no different than anyone else. And they want to make you feel like you are different than everybody else because they have something on you that you don't have on anybody else. But you're no different than anyone else. You sin like everybody else, and your sin is no worse than the next man's sin, and certainly not worse than theirs, which is gangstalking, organized harassment, organized crime against you, or psychological warfare against an innocent person. And I know that a lot of us, we haven't done anything. We've done literally nothing. But some of us, you know, whether it be substance abuse, whether it be uh, domestic violence, drinking and driving, theft, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you did. It doesn't matter. You don't have any shame to hold in this situation. Now, if you've done something wrong, obviously, yes, do better, for yourself, if nothing. But you are not to hold your head down before these people who are playing God with you. And I say playing God, and when I say playing God, I don't mean it like they're playing God. I mean they're behaving like Satan, who is the original person, the original entity that played God, that tried to play God. You know, you have no reason to put your head down in front of these people. These people are despicable, and at the end of the day, again, these are the words of Dr. De Facto. At the end of the day, what do all of us want, need, and deserve? Grace, mercy, privacy. We're humans. We are human beings. Human life is sacred. They're putting you through torture that they would never put a pet through. But somehow it's okay to do it to you. No, truly, I have to say it. I mean, yes, all life is sacred. I agree with you, but I do eat meat, right? So these words, have cognitive dissonance for me. Though I feel that we shouldn't eat meat. I do. I don't know if you do, but the point I'm making is, you know, you have nothing to be ashamed of in front of these people. And this is really a trick of the devil. The devil, abuses you, tortures you, and then fools you into thinking that not only you deserve it, but you should be ashamed of your behavior. And that the abuse that he puts you through is not the actual problem. Your reaction to the abuse that he puts you through, that's the real problem. You know? So I just wanted to share. I was trying to get this message across this morning. I think I was a bit too tired to get it through, but I've been chewing on it all day. And I wanted to get that message across that, you know, we all deserve mercy. We all deserve grace. We all deserve a second chance. how you're, you know, how you're being treated does not belong to you. It's not something you deserve. It's not something you've earned. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. They are beneath you. They're not worthy of your life. 100% right, Gary. You know, how these people treat you has nothing to do with you, because if it wasn't you, it would have been somebody else. And truthfully, if it was about us and our sins, and if it was about something that we deserved, they would go after the Epstein list. They would go after the child abductors of this world. They would go after, you know, the kingpins. Let's see you do this to cartels. Obviously, you're not going to do that, because you know what would happen to you. You know, they're going after targets that they know don't have the means to retaliate, to defend themselves, to do anything. And that makes them monsters. I will not hold my head down in shame before a monster. I will call the devil by his name, to his face. And I will put his sins to his face. Don't pin that shit on me. You know, whatever you see us as targeted individuals do within the privacy of, you know, our lives, because you're invading that privacy, you don't get to hold it above me. I don't care what you did. I don't care what they have on you. I don't care if you messed up. Who doesn't? Anyways, that was just a message I wanted to share with you guys before I go to bed. I'm just going to read a couple of comments before I go. In an ideal world, these people should be held accountable. They get a free pass to do all of this, yet if we slip up in the slightest, we are held accountable. 100%. And that's the game of the devil. But I am a Christian. I do believe that no one gets away with anything. These people are going to hell. I mean, if anyone is going to hell, these people are definitely going to hell. You know, if not for the sin that they're committing, for the fact that they're not repenting at all for this sin. They're not sorry at all. They think we deserve it. I mean, you cannot get closer to Satan if you tried. Torturing and abusing people for profit and feeling righteous about it, you're going to hell. I felt so devalued, it feels like shame, even though I don't quite understand what's happening. Thanks again. Yeah, I mean, I think that all of us feel that way because these torture tactics are very demoralizing and they're built that way. You know, it's the goal of gangstalking or sersetsung is erosion, slow decay. You know, they're basically chipping at you bit by bit, you know, and it accumulates over time. And I just wanted to give you guys some, like, a pick me up, you know? You have nothing to be ashamed about. Being human is not shameful. And there's nothing human about torturing people and taking joy from it. That's not being human. That's being demonic. So you sinned. Who gives a shit? Who doesn't sin? Right? But if you sin and you don't repent, there's a difference. If you sin, not only if you sin and you don't repent, but if you sin and you feel righteous in your sin. I mean, I don't think any of us feel righteous in our sins. I know I don't. Let the man without sin cast the first stone. That's right. I mean, they really feel that way. They feel like they have a right to cast stones upon your head. Somehow they think they're sinless. You know who else thought he was sinless? I'll let you figure that out. Figure that one out. This is their chaos, not mine. It's just my choice how I respond or not. 100%. That's basically the message I want to give you guys is this is their shame to hold. This is their chaos. You know, don't play in it. The Bible says, or is it the Bible? No, it's not the Bible. It was a writer who said, never wrestle in the mud with pigs. The only thing that's gonna happen is one, the pigs like it, they enjoy it. Two, you're gonna get dirty. You know, don't let these people dirty your soul. Are they aware it's their shame? Not in a significant way. So they may acknowledge that it is their shame, but their narcissistic defense mechanism will make them deflect it really, really quickly. So even if for a second they think that, their narcissistic uh, um, defense mechanism will find some kind of excuse to release their accountability. And it really doesn't matter if they're aware. Doesn't matter. Don't let these people dirty your soul. 100%. 100%. They're ashamed of something deep down. Absolutely. You know, narcissism is a shame-based defense mechanism. It's narcissism is basically trying to avoid shame at all costs. And a narcissist, because they also lack empathy, they're not above burning someone else to keep themselves warm, meaning they'll project shame onto you and, you know, fight you and shame you in order to avoid looking within, looking at themselves. So they want to see all like God. They're playing God for sure. They think they are, but if they believed in God, they would believe in his wrath and justice. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as, you know, narcissism is just the scientific word for demonic. They're behaving just like Satan did, just like Lucifer did, you know, sinning and believing that they're righteous in their sins. I sin, guys. I'm not perfect. I am not a perfect man. I'm full of flaws, you know. I know, you know, when I speak, I give this, and you know, I'm also full of qualities. I don't want you to think that like I'm, you know, behind this facade, I'm a piece of shit. I'm not, but I'm not perfect. I sin like everybody else. But I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm proud of my sin or I feel righteous in my sin. I just refuse to bow my head before demons who try to shame me for my sin. My sin is my sin. It it involves me and my God. No demons are involved in the conversation of me and my sins. Whatever you have on me because you're spying on me, that's your problem. That's for you to deal with. You know? However you feel about it, I don't care. I don't give a shit. At all. They don't care about sins. They're biggest sinners, murderers, antagonistic, parasitic, intruders. 100%. Parasitic. I like that word. Parasitic. Because a lot of us are cash cows, you know? A lot of people participating in our gangstalking are doing it because they're getting um, monetary gain from it. They're not doing it because, you know, you did something wrong, you know, oftentimes they see it as either a means of vendetta because they have, you know, they feel slighted by you. They felt slighted by you at some point, or because they're really jealous of you, deep down, and they don't want to face the fact that they are jealous of you. So instead, they see wrong in you and justify trying to destroy you. But, what I always say is, you can't stand on my shoulders and call yourself tall. Just, I refuse. I don't accept that. You know, they would they would really stand on your shoulders and call themselves tall. But I know the truth of it. I know the truth is you're standing on my shoulders, dude. I'm carrying you. You're a parasite. How do we stay encouraged? I find videos to help and make sure to go outside and make myself do something fun each week, take a class, volunteer. You got it. You just answered your question. Stay encouraged by living your life. Make your life as good as it can be. You know, don't let them isolate you. Don't let them, take you out of going out in the world, building relationships. Don't allow it. In this world, there are two kinds of people. There are people who know you and people who don't know you. Anybody that would judge you and, you know, participate in this gang stalking, they don't know you. And the people who know you would never do that to you. And, oftentimes what will happen is people will reveal themselves. With time, they might betray you. And it makes it so, you can't trust anyone. And you shouldn't trust anyone. You should trust God to give you the discernment to recognize good people and bad people, people that are worth keeping in your life and people that are not worth keeping in your life. Trust God to give you the discernment. Trust in yourself. But don't trust people. Trust in yourself to see people for who they are when the time comes. That's why I love directed conversation so much, because it's a really easy way for me to go, because they're gonna do directed conversation with you, and then they're gonna gaslight you when you try to confront them and say, hey, were you doing directed conversation with me? I feel like you're messing with me. They'll be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, right? I mean, that's your cue to be like, oh, fuck you, and just never talk to them again. But you don't have to give anyone an explanation. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me that I should never talk to you again. If you did directed conversation with me, that was my cue. I might give you a chance to explain yourself, but I'm not really giving you a chance to explain yourself. I'm giving you a chance to save your soul, because you're torturing an innocent person. But if you gaslight me, you lie to me, I don't take it personal. I just move on. It's like, oh, well, it was nice while it lasted. I'll make another friend. Just live your life. That's just what it is. They are despicable. They sure are, man. Hey, thanks for the thank you, Deb. I appreciate it. Sorry, did you write a comment? Thank you so much, Deb. Much appreciated. Why give them a chance? Look, move on, just walk away. Well, I give them a chance just I don't know. I don't know why I give them a chance, but I do. I give them one chance. I let them know, like, hey, I noticed you did this. Do you want to explain yourself? Would you like to talk? Would you like to be honest? I give them a chance. because their souls are worth something, you know? Because their souls are important. Because I want to be able to go to heaven and tell God, I tried. I did try. I gave them a chance. I mean, I'm not going to put myself in danger having conversations with these people, but I'm going to give them a chance. And if they gaslight me, then at that point it's just like, okay, well, that's all right. I mean, it's not my soul that's going to hell. It's yours. I was really trying to help you. I'm not trying to. A lot of times, when I try to have a conversation with these people, they think I'm trying to reconnect or save the relationship that we have. Nah. Once you betray me, we're done. We're through. It's over. There's nothing else needs to be said. But your soul still matters. So I guess the reason why I give them a chance is because I'm trying to see if God will give me the wisdom to find the words to wake them up. Hasn't worked yet, but maybe one day. Who knows? Who knows? Probably not, but I won't stop trying. I know that that's what God would want me to do. Yeah, you're right, Gracie. I mean, you give them a chance, but you don't allow them to, you know, reoffend. Once you show me who you are, I believe you. You don't have to show me again. It's fine. The directed conversation hasn't happened to me in a while. They know I know. They know once they give themselves away in that way, I'm done and they need their way in. Yeah. You know, another tactic that they use that I think is very interesting is one day the directed conversation is like full on, or they'll just be like super shitty to you, like really mean towards you. And then the next they're super sweet. No problem. Very nice. Very courteous, very cordial, as if nothing ever happened. And then they switch back. And that's a it's actually a war tactic, you know. It's a war tactic that is ruled um, a war crime in the Geneva Convention. It's it's outlawed. You know, um, the best example I can give to you is when the Canadians were fighting the Germans. Every morning they would throw in their trenches, in the German trenches, they would throw cans of food every morning, right? Every morning they would just throw cans of food before, you know, the fight would begin. And the Germans were like, "Oh, these Canadians, they're so nice people. They're such nice people. They throw food at us. It's just, I think we misjudged them, right?" And then after, several days of this, they threw cans of food along with grenades. And I mean, the Geneva Convention is basically almost consist almost 100% of shit Canadians did. They they did not play fair. They did not, you know, I mean, they didn't have the numbers the way that other countries had numbers, so they did what they had to do, I guess, but war is war. But I never accepted to go to war with anybody. Y'all brought the war to me. But yeah, the one of the tactics that they use is they'll be super mean to you one day or use directed conversations with you one day, and then the next they're being super nice. Uh They're petty. Petty. Yeah. This surprises you about the Canadians? Well, here's a fun fact about the Canadians. Canadians have never lost a war. Never. Now, don't get me wrong, Canadians have usually been on the obvious side that would win, but they've never shied away from a war and they never lost a war. And it's mostly because they commit war crimes. And make no mistakes, what's happening to us is a war crime. But yeah, the Geneva Convention was mostly written after World War II. It was mostly written because of shit Canadians did. Everybody was like, "What is wrong with these people, man?" All right. Um, I hope I hope I gave you guys some like a boost. I know I needed it. I needed it for sure. Um, I hope I gave you guys a boost. Well, Canadians are nice, but I'm not necessarily Canadian. I'm from Quebec. Quebec is like Quebec is very resentful of the rest of Canada. They speak French. They lost a war against Canada, which is why they're part of Canada now. In the 1700s, I think. And though Quebecers can be very warm and welcoming, um, where I'm from, Montreal is not warm and welcoming. You know, they say people are nice in Montreal, but they're not. People are nice in Ontario. I remember I went to go stay with a girlfriend of mine at the time over in Ontario, and I was walking my dog in the morning, and everybody was just saying hi, and I just thought it was the weirdest thing. And I got back to her place, and I was like, everybody says hi in your neighborhood. And she was like, yeah, it's people are nice here. You didn't know? And I was like, I had no idea. Like, honestly, in Montreal, if you say hi to your neighbor, you know, you're liable to like get cussed out and be like, you don't talk to me, you know. But everybody was just saying hi to me. It felt so strange. I mean, it felt nice. Stop crying. You're gonna make us break down on some real shit. You gotta stay strong. Nah, I'm not. I'm not crying. Though I cry a lot. I mostly cry when I watch movies. I don't cry about real life situations though. Um, I'm not crying. Whatever it is these people are saying or doing to you, whether it's true or not, you have to remember only God can judge you. Yeah, yeah, no, that is true. Um, you know, in so many words, that's basically what I'm saying. You know, these people don't get to judge you. The devil doesn't get to judge you, right? Doesn't that make sense? The devil certainly does not get to judge you, especially after putting you through torture. You don't get to judge my action after you spied on me and tortured me. That's not how that works. Your opinion has no value here. Where do you do that at? My neighbors in DC run the opposite direction. When I step out, I demolished my car in a driveway, and now they think I'm dangerous. I didn't diminish your shit. Someone trashed the engine. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. So I showed you how much I care about that car. That I'm sorry to hear that, Cosmic Queen. That does suck. Uh, but yeah, usually in major cities, people are not nice. They're not welcoming, and I live in a major city. But if you go on the outskirts, people tend to be nicer. They'll say hi. And in the situation we're in, you're always better off being on the outskirts of major cities. Major cities are to be avoided if you're in a situation we're in. Truly, major cities are to be avoided. Anyways, I hope I gave you guys a little pick me up. Um, you know, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the community that we build here. I appreciate the support. Um, I appreciate the donation that you guys made for me today. Um, I want you to know that it does help. I am, I don't want to ask, for help or anything, because I have a mentality of like I have to figure it out. But it does help. It surely does help, and it is much appreciated. Um, and you guys don't just help me, by watching my videos in a financial way, but you also help me keep a positive outlook, and you allow me to not go crazy because going through this is one thing, but going through this feeling that like you're the only one who's going through it, that's a whole different type of like level of torture. So being able to speak on my experience and have people say, like, for example, I was just talking about directed conversation, and everybody in the chat is like, that happens to me all the time. That happens to me all the time. Um, Being able to speak about something as crazy as directed conversation and having people, instead of being like, those are just coincidences. You're tripping. Like you're exaggerating. Who would do that? Why would they do that? What do they have to gain? And you're just like, nigga, I don't fucking know. Fuck you mean? What are you talking about? I'm not a crazy person, you know? But being able to talk, I'm sorry for cursing, guys. Uh, but being able to talk to you guys and get feedback from you guys telling me that you're going through the same thing I'm going through, and you guys telling me about your experiences, and me being able to go, me too, this happens to me too, or you sharing how you feel about the torture you're going through, and me being able to relate, or me saying how I feel about what I'm going through, and you guys telling me to shut up and stop crying. It helps a lot. I mean, it helps to have like to be able to like bounce off things off of each other, and being able to relate to each other and not feel so crazy. Thank you, Cosmic Queen. Cosmic Queen gave me the okay to cry. I will cry if I feel like it. I've actually cried on live before. I think I was talking about Myron May, and I cried about that. Myron May was a targeted individual who was a lawyer and ended up being um, a mass shooter, which that's super unfortunate, you know. But I was crying not because of what he did. I was crying because of the diary that he had put out before doing what he did, where he was praying a lot. He was talking to his family. He was telling his family members who betrayed him how he felt betrayed. He couldn't believe, you know, how they turned on him. And I mean, these people are lucky he didn't go to them instead of going to the university. But he was basically telling them like, you guys hurt me, man. You guys hurt me. And in the moments where I needed you most, you guys went out of your way to hurt me more than I already was. And you could tell from how he was talking that he was a gentleman. I don't want to talk about it too much. I'll cry again. But yeah, I I've cried on live before. I don't feel ashamed about crying at all. I cry quite often actually. I don't want you to think that this here, what I'm doing here, being as unemotional as possible and as informational as I can be is, you know, who I am. I'm an emotional person. And I'll cry if I want to, damn it. No, I'm just kidding. But for the most part, I usually cry at movies, which is really funny because my wife never cries. She only cried once on our wedding day. I was giving a speech on our wedding day, and I was thanking her family for letting me in because I invited very few people from my family. You could probably guess why, to my wedding, and I was thanking her family for letting me in, for inviting me in, for making me feel like I'm, part of the family. And then I turned to my wife and she's just bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, it was the first time I ever seen her cry. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And that was a sweet moment. My wedding day was the best day of my life for sure. And I was getting harassed by gang stalkers on that day. I mean, they really tried to mess my day up. Anyways, yeah. Um, yeah, if Jesus is for me, I get a lot of people who will say that I'm like a fake targeted individual, that I'm actually like a gang stalker or a perp. I'll usually just block them. I don't respond to these people. Um, I save my energy for you guys. I save my energy for things that are positive. There is nothing positive that can come from arguing with people who accuse me of being fake or for of doing this for like, subscribers to like boost my numbers or whatever. It's like I got stuff, better stuff I'm interested in. If I wasn't a perp, I wouldn't waste so much time, well, spend so much time making videos. And I have nothing to prove to anybody when it comes to whether I'm gang stalked or not. So anytime somebody writes a comment like that, or any comment I don't like even, I'll just block you. I don't care. I have no time for negativity. Oh man, you guys are too sweet with your messages here, man. You guys are gonna make a brother blush right here. Hold on, man. Let me just read a couple of these. Thank you, Gracie. I appreciate you. We are outside of the normal reality. That's why they can't fathom what we go through. We literally blow their minds. Yeah. Um, I think I think not explaining what I'm going through or what we're going through to people who don't ask for it, that's doing them a favor, you know. A lot of people are just not ready for it. Thank you, Cosmic Queen. I appreciate it. I try to stay strong, you know. Don't bring the aliens to my house, all right? Um this crap makes me want to cry all the time, but I won't give them the satisfaction. You know, I've cried before. I've cried before, you know. I once was praying. I was praying to God. I was saying, something like, Heavenly Father, I'm in trouble. This is more than I can handle. I need your help. And then I just started crying my eyes out. That was a few months ago, actually. But yeah, I was in need of some heavenly strength that day. I didn't finish that prayer. I couldn't stop crying. Nowadays, when I make that prayer, I'm able to do it calmly. But again, I don't want you to think that, when you watch my videos and I'm being all serious and news anchor like that this is who I am. I'm an emotional person. I just don't share my negative emotions with gang stalkers, with perps, you know. And really I don't have negative emotion for them. I mostly I feel bad for them because I'm just like, you're trading your soul for what? What are you gaining from this? You know you're going to hell, right? Like I mostly feel bad for these people. Uh yeah, crying is not always negative. You're right. I watched AJ cook and he was definitely doing the damn thing. I love his channel. Yeah, AJ has a great channel. Definitely positive brother. I really enjoy AJ's videos. Yeah. Do you guys mean that he was actually cooking something? The last video I saw of AJ, he was showing his Jordan collection. I have one pair of J's that is actually like a real pair of J's, and all my other J's are fake J's. I'm not spending money on shoes. It's just it's never been something that I've been into. I don't even like basketball, honestly. My apologies to NBA fans. Waiting for Elon. You're not blocked. Congratulations, you are not blocked. Yet. Yet. Yeah, I mean, I'm all right. You know, I took a step back this week in the beginning of the week. Um, some people actually did notice. I didn't think people would notice, but some people actually noticed. Deb wrote to me. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine. I'm sitting right in front of my computer, you know, just going through the motions." But I'm all right. Like I'm fine, guys. I'm good. I'm blessed, really. I'm blessed. That's the truth of it. I am blessed. Through this hardship, I refuse to I refuse to not acknowledge my blessings. My eyes are red because I woke up at 1 a.m. this morning. I've been up since 1 a.m. I'm very tired. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna leave now. So, with that being said, guys, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys. I'll be back, I think, tomorrow or the day after. We'll see. Well, tomorrow I don't have anything on the schedule, so I'll probably be back tomorrow. Um, I'll try to put out a video as well tomorrow. It's not so much for you guys, but it'll be something that you guys can share with friends or whatever. It's just basically about. It's a video I'm gonna put out tomorrow about always making sure you get both sides of the story because very often abusers will try to pass themselves off as victims or like the hero of the story when in fact they're actually the abuser of the story. So no matter basically the lesson of the video I'm going to put out tomorrow is no matter what you hear about someone, no matter what you see, no matter what is being reported to you about someone, always make sure you get both sides of the story before you say anything. And if you don't want to get both sides of the story, at the very least, shut the fuck up. You know? So yeah. Hey, thanks. Thanks. My dog Freya sliding in the snow. She's really funny. You know that video got 70 million views on Instagram? Isn't that crazy? My page for my dogs was at 9,000 followers, I think. Now it's at 60,000 followers. Absolutely insane. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm falling asleep. Thank you for being here. As I always say, uh, you deserve grace. You deserve mercy. Take care of yourself. And hopefully, the things I said today on this live will make you understand on a deeper level what I mean when I say you deserve grace and you deserve mercy. Go with God, guys. I love you.